Welcome to That Guy Talks Movies. I'm that guy talking movies. Again, here I am. It's been a minute, been a slight absence. It hasn't been that long. I did Beetlejuice 2. If you haven't seen the review on that channel, go ahead and watch that. Beetlejuice, which I can save you the whole thing. It was just not that good. But if you want to watch a review on that, go ahead and watch it. To those of you who are new to the channel, who have somehow found me, I appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button. And to my followers, the people who stay with me, people who comment, I always tell you, I show you mad love. Those of you who have subscribed and stick with me even through my absences, truly appreciate you. Let's get into the latest, Joker 2, Folie à Deux. Next, That Guy Talks Movies. So it's been 5 years since we first got to know Todd Phillips' imagining of and Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of Arthur Fleck, aka Joker. The anticipation for that film was some of the highest, most exciting moments in a long time when it comes to waiting on a film to be released, especially a film about a DC comic book iconic villain that's been played out 3 times. I've said 3 times, right? In film already, but only as a character in a Batman movie. In 2019, when Joker was unleashed as its own story, he had the spotlight, and oh my God, did he shine. The pretty much flawless execution of that film left most people so satisfied that in reality, even if we did want more, we knew we didn't need it. That was it. We were good right there. Even the rumbles of having a follow-up film with the darker DC Universe Batman from The Batman and this Joker sounds great, but I don't think anyone really wanted to chance it. So when news of a second Joker came out, I, like many of you guys, thought, what? Really? Which were expressions not only just questioning the reality, but I was mildly intrigued and somewhat excited. Then the why question kicked in, and that was definitely not excitement. It was pure skepticism, underpinned by a vehement rejection of the idea altogether. Well, the trailer was released roughly, 5 months or so ago, and there were some sparks of hope and a bit of excitement. I mean, when you saw the trailer, I spoke about it then, and I'll say it again here. When a film is supposed to be a standalone film, and there was never intent to do a sequel, but then that standalone film exceeds expectations, it becomes the highest grossing R-rated film of its time and grosses $1 billion at the box office. Well, the people who run Hollywood, the accountants, they make it very clear that they want another one. Let's do it. Let's make more money. So that is how we arrived here. It's how we ended up with the Joker 2 Folie à Deux. And as predicted in my trailer reaction, this simply did not work. Where to start? First, I'll say I'm not even sure if what I'm about to say actually has spoilers. I mean, I'm not going to give details, but I feel as if my analysis in some way could possibly be a spoiler. So I'm not sure. That said, if you're not wanting any spoilers, you don't want to hear my analysis of it all, click off now. I will just say real quick, though, to give you some value before you leave, this film was not worth seeing in a theater. Okay, so let's get into it. The plot. Arthur Fleck, played by Joaquin Phoenix again, is in custody of Arkham State Hospital, awaiting trial for a series of murders he committed 2 years ago. His lawyer, Marianne Stewart, played by Catherine Keener, plans to argue that Arthur has dissociative identity disorder and that his Joker personality is responsible for the crimes. At a music therapy session, Arthur meets another patient, Harley Quinn Quizell, played by Lady Gaga. She confides to Arthur that she grew up in the same neighborhood he did. She had an abusive father who died in a plane crash and was imprisoned after burning down an apartment building. Lee also expresses her admiration for the Joker's crimes and personality. That's pretty much essentially the plot. Now, here's the deal. Here's my take overall. My analysis, if you will, this entire film, save for about 5 minutes in the beginning where he's speaking with Arkham psychologist, is all 100% entirely Arthur Fleck's mental fantasy delusion taken to the extremes for the sake of telling this story. Now, on that level, it's fine. Does it work as a film? Not really. We're essentially inside the mind of a psychopath who has full delusions of grandeur. Full. That's what the whole thing is. Could have been called delusions of grandeur. Now, let's look at what that is, by the way. If you look at the definition, grandiose delusions, GDs, also known as delusions of grandeur or expansive delusions, are a subtype of delusion characterized by extraordinary belief that one is famous, omnipotent, wealthy, or otherwise extremely powerful. Examples include the extraordinary belief that one is a deity or celebrity, or that one possesses extraordinary talents, accomplishments, or superpowers. When studied as a psychiatric disorder in clinical settings, grandiose delusions have been found to commonly occur with other disorders, including in 2/3 of patients in manic state of bipolar disorder, half of those with schizophrenia. Patients with the grandiose subtype of delusional disorder frequently has combined comorbid condition in narcissistic personality disorder, and substantial portion of those with substance abuse disorders. And there you have it. So let's get off the psychology for a second. In the film, it specifically plays with that diagnosis. The way Arthur sees his crimes, the way he sees his life playing out in Arkham, the way he sees the guards, his interactions with them and the other inmates, the way he sees himself as a star, as a celebrity, as someone important, someone they all love. There's also obvious signs throughout this movie that this is all fantasy. In spite of having killed 5 people, he's never locked up, really, never treated as a murder suspect awaiting trial. I mean, it's just ludicrous how much freedom he has within Arkham. I won't get into all of it, but for me, the amount of head scratching you do when watching how his life goes in Arkham and all of his transportation to and from different venues, such as the court, it's all a dead giveaway that none of this is real. And don't even let me get started with Harley Quinn. My take. She's part of his fantasy as well, part of his delusions, and possibly even a third personality type within his mind that plays out. Now, the Folie Deux thing, a psycho break with reality within 2 people, right? There will be those who point out to me that if that's the case, if she wasn't real, why are other people around her able to see and react to her? And the answer is simple. The entire film, just about every single sequence, is all in Arthur's head, period. The time in Arkham, the trial, obviously the trial, and this might be somewhat spoiler, right? Let me for a second get into the trial. Now, again, probably somewhat of a spoiler, but I'm not giving you detail per detail. There was a trial. He killed 5 people. Okay, the trial. Like all the other scenes, it provides so many what the F moments of impossible scenarios that you clearly have to know that this shit is not happening. It's all in his head. It's how he sees it all going. And let me mention the musical numbers because, of course, you know, that's a big part of this film. Its musical numbers are just exaggerated musical moments of all the fantasies, and the entire world is taking place in his head. That's all it is. Take them how you will. If you're a musical fan, you like musical films, or if you're a Lady Gaga fan in general, I guess you'll appreciate them. But for me, they weren't anything spectacular. I am not a musical fan, not a huge Gaga fan, and I saw right through it all. So overall, I thought they were mostly too long and just added to the silliness of the whole film. So that's just my thing when it comes to the musical, the pieces, the way they were done. This was a boring take on Arthur Fleck and Joker. What made Joker, the original, so damn good was we were watching the descent into madness, the decay of a mind and society. That voyeuristically sick as it might seem and entertaining to see, Folie Deux is simply the conclusion of that descent into madness, and it's not nearly as interesting. The musical score from the original, for example, which was brilliant and won Hildur Guðnadóttir an Oscar, it simply doesn't work nearly as well here as it did previously. It's merely a redundant reflection, reused in a way that doesn't have the same effect as it did when we were watching Arthur as his life spiraled out of control and into hell. You're seeing it happen, and the music underscored that perfectly. What I really want to note is the most times while watching Folie Deux, specifically when Fleck is Joker, I wanted to see that character unleashed, unburdened from the fantasy narrative in his head. I wanted to see a Joker movie where the Joker, as a free man somehow, is operating as some type of Gotham criminal, underground criminal, and organizing. Now, at first, to me, that sounded like it might be silly or cheesy, but then again, if it's done right, if it's written well, and if given some opportunity, it would probably have worked much, much better than this. In closing, if I had to say anything positive, I'd say it was shot pretty well again. You know, Todd Phillips did his thing, and it has a few moments that actually make you feel something. And once again, we've got the lovely, gorgeous, one of my favorites, Zazie Beetz makes an appearance again. So I was thrilled about that. Other than that, this was just one long bad joke. That's it. And the joke's on you, or on us, I should say. So see it, don't see it. Have you seen it? Do you plan to see it? Let me know in the comments below what you thought. I just really, again, most of my disappointment was I want to see this guy unleashed. I want to get outside of his head. This whole thing took place within his head. It was a dream within a dream. I felt like I was watching Inception at a certain point because there are multiple things happening. And when you think you can dissect it or analyze it enough to say, oh yeah, this part he's dreaming, this part he's not. This is where it's fantasy. This is, well, the color grade has changed. So it's obvious that he's, no longer, this is no longer reality, right? You look for those moments in cinema where you're trying to identify where does the line get blurred? Where does it become? But this entire thing, I think probably the first, there's an opening animation sequence, and then he's in Arkham and he's being questioned by a therapist, right? And he's preparing for his trial with his lawyer and a therapist, is trying to analyze whether or not he's competent to stand trial. And I think that moment was probably the only part of the film that contained any real reality. And then the rest of it was Arthur Fleck dealing with his imprisonment in a real Arkham, like in the real sense of the word, and trying to play out like what took place in his life, and then fantasizing about himself still being this hero of sorts. Even the guards, the way he relates to the guards, they love him. Oh, tell us a joke. They're not treating him like a guy that killed 5 people and one guy on national television, a beloved late night star, right? They're treating him like, he's this hero. That is all in his head, all of it, every scene. So even the moments where you think, well, no, that must be really, she's really there. No, she's not. This is all him playing this thing out. And I will be surprised to learn differently. I'd love to see what Todd Phillips says. I haven't even looked at other reviews for the film. I tend to not want to do that when I know I'm going to see it and then review it myself. I'd rather just see the film and give you my take on it. And then I'll go and see what other people are saying and see how far off I am. But if I'm wrong about this whole fantasy thing and there's some other explanation for it, let me know. I mean, I just don't think that's the case. But again, let me know in the comments below. And if you plan on seeing it, again, go see it and then come back and let me know what you thought about it. Let me know, let me know if you think I'm, again, batshit crazy, but I don't think so. I think this whole thing, the trial, I mean, I could talk about it for another 10, 15 minutes and give you clear examples, but I'll wait. Again, I didn't intend for this to be spoiler video, but I think in my overall analysis, I kind of just give away how the film is playing out. And hopefully that hasn't ruined it for anyone if you continued watching, but whatever, at your own peril, because I warned you. Anyway, that's it for me on That Guy Talks Movies. If you haven't subscribed again, I really appreciate that. And if you like the video, hit that like button. I really appreciate that. It helps the algorithm and blah, 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 and all that stuff behind the scenes. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.